Shut up and sit down.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised. Prepare to delve deep into the eternal question, where did we come from? How did we begin? What is our origin? With your hosts, Matt and Benji, live from Paranormal Buzz Studios. This is Origin. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Origin. I'm your host, Benji, and joining me today is my loopy co-host and sidekick, Matt.
Good evening.
How is everybody doing out there in Spreakerland? Spreaker's where we're hitting it off anyway. Eventually, we will be on iTunes and SoundCloud, and who knows where else we're going to be. But tonight, we are in Spreakerland. Mallory said she texted you, Matt. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Sweet.
Thanks for joining us right away, Mallory. Holy cow, you were like literally the first person in the chat. Holy cow. Oh. So did you get her text, Matt?
I did, and your clock is fast.
Oh, man. I'm still trying to get used to the whole time change thing.
Oh, it's horrible.
We did the whole spring ahead thing. Yes, okay, I will admit we were 2 minutes late. But in my defense, we were 2 minutes late because I had to wait for Matt to get back from letting the dog out. So I didn't want to have all that shuffling around going on during the intro, but 2 minutes is not that big of a deal. I have been much, much later. I will guarantee you that. So for those who haven't been paying attention, or those who haven't listened to other shows like our opposing show on the opposite Mondays, B Squared. Oh, Brittany's listening and driving. Thanks, dear, for tuning in. Or for those of you who have just been living under a rock and not been listening to Paranormal Buzz Radio at all, which is just, that shouldn't even be a thing. Everybody should be listening to Paranormal Buzz Radio.
Absolutely.
Because it is one of the best podcast stations out there, in my opinion, and I'm not being partial just because I'm on it. I promise they don't pay me for it. So,
not enough funds at the moment.
We're slightly underfunded. So if anybody wants to sponsor any of the shows on Paranormal Buzz Radio, be sure to hit up our website and send the owners a message. Just wanted to throw that out there. This show, Origin, is going to be talking literally about the origin of mankind and our existence on this planet. And who knows, any other planet we might exist on that we don't even know about. You know, aliens and that type of thing. It's not all about aliens, people, but
it's aliens.
It's aliens. Anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about a specific topic, and we're going to try to keep our topics fairly specific and try to stay on topic. As my wife would very, very much so be willing to tell you that I am horrible at trying to stay on topic. I get sidetracked very, very easily. So Matt's whole job, the whole purpose of him being here is to keep me on track.
I'm going to try, but in the meantime, do you have a pen I can use?
Oh, I have a pen. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pens. I have 6 pens down here. And we haven't still, to this day, other than the one that I put in her hood, we have not taken any pens upstairs. If you don't get that joke, ladies and gentlemen, you should tune in to B Squared Magic Mondays on the opposing Mondays. So, that said... Oh, we're going to talk about lots of stuff on this show. This show is going to be one of those shows like all the other shows. That's not like any of the other shows. If that doesn't make any sense, just cuss. We're going to be a show that's going to kind of cross like Ancient Aliens meets anything produced by Josh Gates meets... The X-Files meets whatever. I mean, we're going to talk about religion, spirituality. Tonight, we're going to talk about mounds. Our subject tonight is mounds, and we're not talking about like the Almond Joy type mounds. Okay, we're talking about like effigy mounds. Okay. So that's the type of thing we're talking about tonight. What was it, Matt, you thought that the show was going to be about? I can't remember.
Well, I thought we were talking about Renaissance fairs.
Renaissance
we
fairs.
Can do mounds.
That's right, Renaissance fairs. And there goes my wife. She's all googly-eyed over Josh Gates. Oh, man. Oh, she had to stop at Walmart for some reason. And ladies and gentlemen, if you did not know, the best part about Spreaker podcasting, I don't care if everybody else has it too, the best part about Spreaker podcasting is the interactive chat room. You come into the interactive chat room, and when I look at it, I will interact with you. I am horrible at... We have a great group of people that come and visit us in the chats and the other shows. I'm hoping to gain some of those people into this show as well, and we have some in there right now. We have Sherry Ann Carroll. We have my beautiful wife, Brittany Ann Benjagurtis. We have Mattery. Wow, I can't talk tonight or any other night.
You can do it.
Mallory. We've got Mallory Waddell. Yeah, I think so far that's it that has joined us in the chat room. And if you are listening and you are not in the chat, first off, click that heart, share everywhere you can possibly share, and then come in and join in the interactive chat. Because the interactive chat is the place to be. The group of people that join us every time there is a show are amazing, and they will never leave you out. If you have a question and for some reason the hosts miss the question, somebody in the chat's got your back. So it's a big deal. So if you're listening and you're not in the chat is where it's at, and just come on in and join us there. If you want to just listen to the background, though, that's fine. And yeah, smash that heart button. Smash that heart button. Tell us how much you love us, and come on in and join us. So, tonight we're going to talk about mounds. And I'm going to throw Matt under the bus. And I'm going to start with him, just because I've got a bajillion pieces of information. I'm sure he's got a bajillion pieces of information. I think bajillion might actually even be a number. I'm not sure. In my world, it is. So
it could very well possibly be.
So we're going to talk about different kinds of mounds. I'm going to focus on effigy mounds. I'm not sure what kind of mound. This is going to be also kind of a sharing time, because I'm not 100% sure what kind of mounds Matt's going to be sharing about. Hopefully, even though the show is marked as explicit, and we all know that Matt likes mounds thanks to Shay's chat. Hopefully it's going to be like PG-13 mounds and not something that we need to get a higher rating for.
Hopefully not.
All right, Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So, the earliest known mounds were dated around 3,700 years ago, and they were found 11 of them in Watson Brake near Monroe, Louisiana. Ooh. They were built in the lower Mississippi Valley by a small group of hunter-gatherers, using baskets and just bored as hell.
Nice.
And, and over the ages, they started growing more and more. Mm-hmm. And, they seem to have a important role in their culture as far as religion, social and political. And some of them have been centers of trade and community gathering sites. Nice. And I think one of the most famous ones in southern part of the U.S. is probably Cahokia Mounds.
Okay.
That's pretty much across the Mississippi River, across from St. Louis. Let's see. That was built around, they figure, around 700 AD till about 1400.
Okay.
And at the peak of a time, it probably had around anywhere up to 50,000 people living there.
Holy Moses.
It had trade routes pretty much, throughout the U.S., going to these various cities and mounds. And
sorry, I'm reading the chat. Shay wants to know what is a mound. But and it's for real in case people don't know, but she did have the winky eye tongue stick out emoji with it. So hey, Adam's joined us. I mean, Wolf has joined us. Just had to point out that I did remember the name. Just wanted to throw that out there. But I will refer to him as Wolf, which is his code name from now on.
Mounds were pretty much, they were built for either burial. Some of the later mounds were kind of like a step platform, probably a foundation for another building on top of that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them were like up in Ohio and the Great Lakes area. There were the effigy mounds, which were probably more religious in nature.
Right. I have pulled up here the definition of an effigy mound, which is not what all mounds are. I do not want to throw out that this is all mounds. My half of this is focusing on the effigy mounds, like what Matt was just talking about. And an effigy mound, defined by Wikipedia, is a raised pile of earth built in the shape of a stylized animal, symbol, human, or other figure, and it's generally containing one or more human burials. That's what the effigy mounds are. So they were primarily built during the late Woodland period, which is 350 to 1300 Common Era. So you have a whole bunch of different styles of mounds. There's conical and linear mounds. Then you have the ones that are literally shaped like an animal, like a bear, a bird, that type of thing.
Snakes and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, snakes and lions, tigers, and bears. I don't know if there's any tigers, but definitely bears. Bears and snakes and birds, oh my. I am probably the worst person to try to pronounce this. I don't know if it's Ho-Kunk or Ho-Chunk or how it's exactly pronounced. But basically, like the Winnebago Indian tribes, the native, I shouldn't say Indians, the Native American tribes, were their ancestors were the ones who are thought to likely have built a majority of these effigy mounds. Yeah. But there were, and I'll get into that later, there were the Effigy Mounds National Park area, there were 12 different tribes that were associated with that. So I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
That's all right.
But
yeah, the Cahokia, it was pretty much a center area in Illinois. When the Native Americans started settling down and they started doing more agriculture, it became pretty much a trade center, right? Really, the place was huge. It was over 6 miles.
I believe it.
The center mound, I can't remember the name of it, Monk Mound, was a 4-tiered mound, almost 100 feet tall. That was in the center of the complex. You had all these other buildings around it. You had agricultural areas outside the center. It was just a huge city. It was one of the largest populated areas north of Mexico at the time.
Nice.
Trying to think of some others. As you know, we came prepared.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are prepared. Is just once the show starts, sometimes your brain becomes a train wreck. But my brain becomes a train wreck all the time.
A lot of the places, they had ceremonial centers with temple mounds, and they pretty much appeared throughout the South, especially in the Mississippi Valley. Pretty much from the Southeast, from Georgia all the way to Oklahoma, Texas. Then it seemed to around 1600s, mid 1600s, the mound building had seemed to stop, and of course it kind of got replaced with other stuff. Of course, you have the white men heading west and whatnot, and totally different story for another day.
Definitely a totally different story for another day. Well, we'll leave that one alone for now. But the whole point of this is to start talking about some of this stuff that's right here in our backyards, basically. And for me, the closest thing to my backyard, besides the mounds that my dog leaves, is the Effigy Mounds National Park. Effigy Mounds National Park is located right here in the great state of Iowa. Some of you are probably like, where the heck is Iowa? I got asked one day, seriously, when we were talking to some people from out of town, we got asked one day, is Iowa the place with all the potatoes? No, that's Idaho. Close. Starts with an I. But no, we have corn. Corn. Beans, corn. Town. There is a song out there about Iowa it's about traveling through Iowa, and that's basically the lyrics to the song. Is corn. Beans, corn. Iowa City, corn. There's not much besides corn, beans, a few hog confinements, some ethanol plants, and a few what we Iowegians call big cities that y'all folks probably would call little towns. But anyway, in Iowa, Effigy. Oh, Kim joined us. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
See, sorry, I'm literally, my brain is like, boom, on topic, squirrel. But here in Iowa, we have the Effigy Mounds National Park. Now, I already talked about what an effigy mound is. The whole raised pile of dirt, stylized animal, symbol, human, figure, whatever, that is basically typically containing one or more human burials from the late woodland period. The woodland period being from 300 to 1300 Common Era, which would be, a long frickin' time ago. The conical and linear mounds are the predecessors of effigy mounds. They date back as far as 700 BCE, so before the Common Era. So, yeah. Lost my train of thought, of course.
Squirrel.
Yep. They remain the places that first peoples frequent to visit and speak with ancestors. They are typically ceremonial, religious. They were primarily for spiritual purposes, although obviously they were also burial grounds. They used them for burial grounds. According to a 2011 ground-penetrating radar and magnetometry study surveying 586 mounds at 128 sites, 65% of linear mounds in Wisconsin contained evidence of burials. 89% of conical mounds contain evidence of burials, and 87% of effigy, the animal or abstract-shaped style mounds, like the bear, the bird, the snake, that type of thing, contain persistent evidence of burials. So most of these mounds, when they use the ground-penetrating radar and the newer technology, which is amazing for archaeologists, this new technology is amazing for archaeologists because they can use it to see what's in the ground without having to actually disturb the ground.
It's a wonderful thing.
So when you get to these places that are, in fact, burial sites, when you're using this technology, you don't have to disturb the remains. You don't have to disturb the burial sites. Which, for me, if I was an archaeologist, as much as I'd love to be able to get my hands on the relics and whatnot from those eras, for me, preserving the remains of the peoples of the past would be more paramount.
Absolutely.
Than, digging up the bones and putting it in a museum. Yes, it's history. I get it. But once again, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the hosts or the guests don't necessarily reflect the views of anybody else. So if you don't agree with my views and opinions, or Matt's views and opinions, nobody usually agrees with Matt or me. But if you don't agree, you don't have to agree. I will agree to disagree. It is fine. I'm just throwing it out there. Especially when it comes to like my religious and spiritual beliefs. I'm not religious. I am a Christian. I am a spiritual, eclectic Christian. I don't go to church. I don't follow the Bible for fact. I actually take my religious background from multiple different religions and I have molded them together into one. But Christianity is the form that I follow the most, I guess would be the way to put it. But that's just an example of my beliefs not having to match yours, and vice versa. I will never hold it against Matt if he believes in something completely different. And I would hope the same for him.
Absolutely.
And it's the same with all of you guys. But back on topic again, as I throw myself back around. The builders of these mounds are typically referred to as mound builders. Wow. They are like Johnny on the spot with the names of these people. You know what I mean? What? Oh man, we got all these mounds here. What are we going to call the people who built them? Ooh, I have an idea. Why don't we call them the Mound Builders? Dude. Perfect.
Dude.
Native American societies in Wisconsin built more effigy mounds than did those of other regions in North America. The ones near Wisconsin built like 15,000 to 20,000 mounds. At least 4,000 of them still remain today. There's mounds on the University of Wisconsin grounds, including burial mounds. So, University of Wisconsin, man, that's like, it's connecting to Iowa. And honestly, if you look at like the region of where the effigy mounds are located, like the Effigy Mounds National Park, it is basically right there. It's near Wisconsin. It's not like the national park area is actually, I think it might border Wisconsin right there. I think it's right there near where the Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois border is, roughly. It's north of the Illinois border. So it's on the Iowa-Wisconsin border. So it does go into Wisconsin there. I'm sorry. That's my bad. But the Effigy Mounds National Monument that is in Iowa. Okay. On October 25th, 1949, I'm just going to read this here. This is directly from the website, from the National Park Service. Okay, so if you want to check this out, you can go ahead and check it out. It is at nps.gov, so National Park Service, nps.gov, and you search for the Effigy Mounds National Park. Boom, it's directly off of their website. Very interactive website, very creative. So I want to give them props for that. But on October 25th, 1949, President Harry S. Truman signed the proclamation that created Effigy Mounds National Monument, which at the time consisted of the Jennings-Leibart Tract, the South Unit, and the Yellow River Unit, the North Unit. Following the presidential proclamation, the National Park Service assumed management of an additional 204 acres transferred by the state of Iowa to the federal government in 1951 to 1952. The Des Moines Founders Garden Club donated 40 acres containing Founders Pond in 1955. The 100-acre Ferguson tract was added in 1961. Lots of dates here, people. There's going to be a test at the end of it. Addition of the Snai Magill. I'm horrible with pronunciations, people. I'm just throwing that out there. Property doubled the number of mounds within the monument in 1962. In 1999, the Iowa National Heritage Foundation purchased the 1,000-acre Kistler-Ferguson tract and transferred it to the National Park Service, increasing the total size of the monument to 2,526 acres. So the monument now contains 191 known prehistoric Native American mounds, including 31 bird and bear effigies, making Effigy Mounds National Park the largest known concentration of mounds remaining in the United States. So
interesting.
I thought that was, first off, it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that is huge. When you look at the map of the park, the monument, it's all between Iowa and Wisconsin. And technically, the National Monument is officially in Iowa, but there is a large amount where the mounds continue into Wisconsin that I'm not 100% sure is actually part of the monument, but it should be if it's not, because it just continues. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, the National Park Service undertook many Indiana Jones-style archaeological excavations of effigy and burial mounds within the monument. However, when a mound was excavated, its value as a scientific object of study was greatly reduced or destroyed. It was during this time that some people began to question the wisdom of excavating the ceremonial mounds. In 1959, Effigy Mounds National Monument established a policy prohibiting further destructive investigations of the mounds, stating that in the future, only non-destructive testing methods would be permitted. By the 1970s, the emphasis at the monument had fully shifted away from archaeological field investigations toward the preservation and interpreting the mound builder story. So that is, in my opinion, a great chain of events that have happened, even though we may have lost a lot during the period of time where they were excavating back in the 50s and 60s. The fact that the National Park Service decided to say, yeah, no, you're not doing it anymore, and now only permitting the non-destructive testing methods is great. I just wanted to throw that out there. There is a Native American mound in, how do you pronounce that, Matt?
Ossipee.
Ossipee, New Hampshire. Wow. I don't even know how I want to react to the name of that town. Wow. Okay. Apparently, Iowa is not the only place with weird town names.
Oh, no. No.
If you want to check out...
Ossipee is right off of Lake Winnipesaukee.
Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to quick go back through the chat and see what I may have missed. Mound in Mass, that she believes is an old burial ground, has 56 people buried there. That's from Shay. Slaughtered in the Deerfield Massacre. Ooh. Okay, I need to do a little bit of research about that one. Sorry about all the silence, people. I can just keep babbling if y'all want. My wife believes in unicorns, which I don't blame her. I would want to believe in unicorns, too. I mean, what could be more majestic than a unicorn? Really? A unicorn with wings. A Pegasus unicorn.
Yes.
I believe they call that an alicorn. Just want to throw that out there. What scientists say unicorns really looked like? What? Yeah, she is probably still driving. Unicorns are amazing. Yes, unicorns are amazing. Okay, going forward. Wow. All right, during the 1980s, another shift took place. This time, the transition being from more of a traditional scientific perspective to one that viewed the mounds and associated landscape from a more humanistic perspective. While the science of the mounds still mattered, the fact that the monument was interpreting what modern Native Americans, they keep saying American Indians, and I personally don't like that term. We're going to call them Native Americans. Considered to be a sacred landscape. The fact they began to recognize that. the passage in 1990 of the Native American Graves Protection and Reparation Act, or NAGPRA, promoted this shift and subsequently opened a new chapter in the history of the monument. This act requires federal agencies and museums that possess Native American human remains and cultural items to consult with lineal descendants and culturally affiliated Native American tribes. Consultation and dialogue that began in the 1990s led to the development of the long-absent connections between the monument, its affiliated tribes, and the living descendants of the Native American mound builders. Now, that's the first time I've seen them say the word Native American in here. Just wanted to throw that out there. It is what it is, people. I mean, one of the big people that is associated with the effigy mounds here in Iowa, slash in Wisconsin. She actually was in Wisconsin, around Prairie du Chien. I actually have a friend that moved here from Prairie du Chien. I should ask him if he's ever heard of her. Her name is Emma Big Bear Holt. She lived from 1869 to 1968 and is known in Northeast Iowa for two reasons: as one of the last Ho-Chunk Winnebago living in traditional Ho-Chunk lifestyle in Northeast Iowa, and the handcrafted baskets she sold. Time has been kind to the memory of Emma Big Bear. That's one of the pictures that I shared in the group on Facebook. I shared some pictures in the group on Facebook. One of them is of Emma Big Bear. There's a bronze statue of her. And the memory has been kind to her. Through the eyes of the early 20th century locals, her way of life stood out in sharp contrast to theirs. She chose to live closer to nature by building a wickup for winters and living in a tent in the summers near Waukon Junction, 3 miles north of Effigy Mounds National Monument. After her husband and daughter passed away, she moved south to McGregor, a small river town, where she built another wickiup. Am I saying that right? I'm not sure. Near the Mississippi River, which would occasionally flood during the spring. Only in her old age did she live in a small house in Marquette, Iowa, another small river town, which I have actually been to, south of the monument, which means I've been a lot closer to the monument than I thought I was. Although she wasn't born in Northeast Iowa, she called it home for many years. She had family in Nebraska and Wisconsin, but chose to live in Northeast Iowa and specifically around what is now the Effigy Mounds National Monument. She and her husband, Henry, lived off the land and had an intimate knowledge of the plants and animals in the landscape. With this knowledge of the landscape that both Emma and Henry had, the mounds along the Mississippi River would not have gone unnoticed. And maybe the reason she decided to live in this region. Mound building is part of the Ho-Chunk tradition and has been passed down in traditions and stories. During their lifetime, many mound groups were destroyed by expanding farms and fields and towns. It is likely that Emma and her family may have witnessed the destruction of some of the mounds, but we will never know how it would have impacted them. Apparently, she was a big deal where she was, and people loved her. And I see a picture of some of the baskets that she made. And I should share that picture on there. They are beautiful hand-woven baskets. I mean, just the pure talent this woman had, and the fact that she still lived the same way that her people had always lived before that.
Nice.
In an era where there were brick and mortar houses, you know? So it's great that she held true to herself and kept close to nature and kept true to her spirituality.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to share her story with all of you. She was part of the Ho Chunk, which was the what we in our area call the Winnebago tribe. That's actually the county that my wife and I live in Iowa is Winnebago County, which had obviously a lot of the Winnebago living in this area. We also have the Winnebago River that flows right through our town and through most of the county, most of the state. And that is officially what Winnebago Industries is named after. Yes, the RV company Winnebago is right here in Forest City, Iowa. Forest City, Iowa, home of Winnebago Industries. So, but yes, officially she was part of the Winnebago tribe. Back then it was called the Ho Chunk tribe. And yeah, it was a wonderful story, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Oh, my wife is sharing in the chat. My daughter, if in case you missed it, my daughter has decided that for her birthday, which is a week from today, she wants a dolphin and some Spirit and Lucky stuff, which is, TV show on Netflix that she likes to watch. Okay, cool. And she wants a Pegasus. She wants a flying horse to take her to and from school really fast. She's not in school. She goes to daycare.
Well, priorities,
Yeah, priorities, yes. I told my mother this, and she's like, "You're a smart ass." I'm like, but no. In all honesty, she wants. My wife doesn't realize that I can hear her phone through my headphones. She is apparently home with me now and is listening to our show. And I can hear me coming back through the microphone through my headphones. So, anyway, yeah, so she wants this to go to and from school. Priorities. She's going to be 4, if you didn't know. I guess an alicorn would be the better way to put it. I'm sure she'd rather have a unicorn. But that's beside the point. All right. Holy cow, we made it to 8:14. Woohoo! So, was there anything else, Matt? I didn't mean to cut you off. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we end the show out?
So, a lot of these effigy mounds, what do you think they were? They were something symbolic or religious in nature?
I think by definition they were literally the burial sites, and maybe I'm not 100% sure why they chose the symbols that they chose. It's like the bear and the bird and the snakes and that type of stuff. I feel like maybe that had to do with.
I think that probably had something to do with, because pretty much every tribe has different clans. Bear clan, wolf clan.
That could very well be, and the people that were part of those clans are the ones buried there.
It could possibly be.
Maybe. I don't know. Because the effigy mounds boasts, I shouldn't say boast, because they don't really boast about anything. Birds and bears, deer, bison, lynx, turtle, panther, water spirits.
Wendigo.
Yeah, various different things. They did continue to build, the effigy mound builders did continue to build the conical mounds for burial purposes, but their burial sites lacked the trade goods of the preceding Middle Woodland culture. So they didn't have the trade culture there that, like, where you were talking about had.
Right.
So I feel it's more, for them, it was more of a spiritual thing.
Yeah, ceremonial.
Mm-hmm. And the effigy mound culture extends from Dubuque, Iowa, north into southeast Minnesota, across southern Wisconsin from the Mississippi to Lake Michigan, and along the Wisconsin-Illinois boundary. The counties of Dubuque, Clayton, and Allamakee contain almost all the effigy mounds found in Iowa. Just to throw that out there. What do the effigy mounds represent? Clues can be found in Native American legends and mythology, and to a lesser extent, scientific research. The stories and legends of Native Americans whose ancestors built the mounds describe the effigy mounds as ceremonial and sacred sites. Okay, yeah. There's that. Archaeologists believe the effigy mounds territories. What am I trying to say here? They marked out the territories of choice gathering and hunting grounds. Unfortunately, much of the data scientifically, as far as archaeologists go, is inconclusive.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard without a written language, and this. Right. All you got is symbols, and really no understanding of what the symbols might mean, or etc. Yeah.
Yeah. Associated tribes. I can list out the tribes that were associated with the effigy mounds that they have found out for sure are part of them. Are the Iowa tribe. Yes, Iowa is the name of a Native American tribe, if y'all didn't know. Just throwing that out there. The Iowa tribe of Kansas and Nebraska, the Iowa tribe of Oklahoma. Actually, it was more so pronounced Iowa, the Iowa Native Americans. But we call it Iowa. Not 100% sure why. I'm going to slaughter most of these names, I'm sure. The Otoe, Missouri tribe of Native Americans. The Ho-Chunk Nation of Wisconsin. The Winnebago tribe of Nebraska. The Upper Sioux Indian community of Minnesota. Shakopee, Medwakatan Sioux community in the state of Minnesota, the Lower Sioux Indian community of Minnesota, Prairie Island Indian community of the state of Minnesota, the Prairie Island Casino, the Sac and Fox in Mississippi and Iowa, the Sac and Fox Nation of Missouri and Kansas and Nebraska. There's a ton of these guys. The Sac and Fox Nation of Oklahoma, Crow Creek Sioux of South Dakota, the Omaha tribe of Nebraska. If some of you are recognizing names here, a lot of these names, cities have taken on these names. All right. The Santee Sioux Nation, Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, Yankton Sioux of South Dakota, the Sisseton, Wahpeton, Oyate. I'm probably slaughtering that. Flanderoo Santee Sioux Tribe, and Ponca Tribe of Nebraska. So now that I have completely slaughtered all of those names, and Matt, you're apparently Native American.
I am.
I guess technically I am too. I was born in America. Just throwing that out there. But
part Akwesasne Mohawk.
Oh, nice. But apparently no flute on air.
I gotta let you know, Shay, I've gotten a lot better at the flute.
Are you sure?
Say your dog of mine.
I'm. That was my dog, Bentley, the big one. The little one will probably pipe in a little bit later. But yeah, so that's basically the type of stuff that I wanted to talk about tonight. Really, this is just a get our feet, hit the ground running type thing, get our foot in the door, kind of get everything rolling for this show. Fun stuff to come on the show coming up is we're gonna talk about lots of stuff. We're gonna talk about more megalithic type things like Stonehenge, for example. For those of you who don't know what megaliths are, just think about Stonehenge. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, Google it. Look it up on the Googles. No, we are not supported by Google. I just wanted to throw that out there too. Let's see. Just various ancient civilizations. We're going to talk about Mesoamerica, which comes into things like the Aztecs and the Mayans and their specific pyramids. We'll discuss different things like, the ancient Egyptian pyramids versus the Aztec pyramids, why they're so similar in shape, that's so different, how different regions were even able to build said pyramids, even with thousands and thousands of people, aliens, and various different things like that. So we're going to talk about lots of different stuff, people. Lots of different stuff. Contemporary art, it'll never last. If you don't get that reference, then you haven't watched enough Ice Age. And ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you check out our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. We are on Facebook. We are on the Twitter, whatever you call it. We're on the Instagram, whatever that happens to be. I'm not 100% sure personally, but that's because I don't social media. I don't personally. If you want to get a hold of me, you can message me on Facebook Messenger, but that's about as close to social media as I get. Today, when I posted the pictures for the show, that was the first time I'd posted anything on Facebook, period, for probably months, in all honesty. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Got to throw that Pacific in there for those Cali folk, which I didn't see Cali Jen in tonight. But she's probably working. Poor Jen. She's always working. Ugh. Or maybe she's not feeling good, too. Who knows?
All that warm weather out there, I tell you, it's sickening.
60 degrees by this weekend. Oh, gee, thanks. We're going to hit the 30s by this weekend. It'll be nice to have a weekend that's not in the single digits.
Maybe by August.
maybe by August. The snow will all be gone in August. And then start again in September.
Right.
So anyway, sorry guys. Tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific, Into the Pit. So be here to check it out. And yeah, honestly, that is all I have for you guys tonight. Do you have anything else, Matt?
I don't. But we really thank you guys for listening.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. Always remember to be kind to one another. Join us in the chat next time if you didn't join us this time. Hey, Jen. Hey, I'm here.
Hey, Jen.
I didn't see a single... Did I miss it? Yeah, you missed it. It's the end of the show now. Did you not set your clock ahead, Jen? That's the only thing I can think of is she forgot to set her clock ahead. But she'll listen to the playback. Jen's always great about it. She is.
She's awesome.
But yeah, check out Into the Pit tomorrow, 8, 7 Central, 5 Pacific, and check out everything that Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer. Thank you all for joining us, and we will be back again in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So, thanks. That's about all I have to say. Have a good night, everybody. And I don't have outro music. I just realized that. So I'm going to play this awesome ad to get out here. Be sure to check out everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer. The Skeptic and the Psychic. Join in as Shay and Psychic Jen B face off on opinions and beliefs concerning all things paranormal, supernatural, and metaphysical. You will be surprised where this investigator and psychic agree and disagree. This is a no holding back, put it all out there kind of show. Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. I'm going to have to make a new ad. I haven't made a new ad with all the new shows. Monday, a one-of-a-kind paranormal comedy show. I apologize for the old ad. Brittany and Benji as they discuss the paranormal, weird news, and whatever comes to mind. You never know where these two will take the conversation next. Every other Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central. Have you not heard this ad before, Matt?
I was just reading chat.
Oh.
Shay's
Paranormal Chat. A one-of-a-kind show with a one-of-a-kind host, discussing all things paranormal. Join us for the latest topics in the paranormal field. Great guests, rants, and some fun. Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. For more information regarding everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has, this is a very old ad. Check out our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, listen free on Spreaker. Okay, Brittany, I promise next time I will make Matt talk more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the old ad, but I need to come up with some outro music. And thank you all again for coming. Good night.